Hope will arise out of the ashes of our past broken relationships, fractured families, and personal struggles. Come walk a mile with me as we allow Jesus to clean out the mess and organize the rest. Welcome to the Bridging Broken to Breakthrough podcast. I am your host, Maria Wingard. Grab your shoes, lace them up as we start strolling through this week's episode. Continuing with the Offendable Me series, this is Forgiveness, part 1. How do we make sure that we don't go from offendable me to offended me? Offenses will come, that's guaranteed. Since we can't stop offense, how do we keep our hearts pure? By grieving and facing the trauma. By refusing to relive the replay of those hurtful moments in time so they do not grow into grudges. For time without forgiveness only transitions you from being offended to taking offense. Forgiveness does not equal continued access. However, most times after the decision to forgive, you simply need space to heal, like Corrie ten Boom giving the bell time to stop ding-donging. The Bible tells us how important it is to forgive before the sun goes down so that trauma doesn't continue to spill over, infecting everything. That being said, I do feel that I have a childhood story of mine that lends guidance on avoiding the octopus's tentacles mentioned in Galatians chapter 5. When I was very young, my mom and dad took our family swimming. While there, a woman who was drunk and high started to drown. My dad, being the hero that he was, jumped in to save her. There was a struggle in the water as she fought to breathe, almost drowning him. Dad managed to get her to shore safely, though he was exhausted and beat up. No sooner had he sat down next to my mom when Dad shouted, "Get out of the water! You almost drowned!" Of course, she did not listen, laughing and dancing in her drunken high state, completely unaware that she had literally been seconds away from death. Dad turned to Mom and said, "Let's pack up. We're leaving." Walking through what I've walked through, I now understand the wisdom my dad had in leaving. Dad knew his own character well enough to know he would attempt saving her again. He also was very realistically attuned to his own abilities. He knew that it had almost taken his life the first time to save her and that he was depleted at this point in resources. As a lifeguard, it's important to have a realistic understanding of what you can and cannot do. You are not required to drown with the person who is fighting your assistance. A person's past trauma is the reason they are inflicting harm. You can offer to go to counseling with someone to help them deal with their trauma or offense, and they can refuse. This happens when they do not want to resolve issues within your relationship as you are slotted as villain. John 7:1 and Matthew 10:14 help me understand this. Jesus stayed out of Judea because the Jews wanted to kill him. When someone has anger towards you, it's okay to go away and allow them to think whatever they want to think. Sometimes we play a role in our own suffering because we choose to stay thinking they will change if we just love them enough. I think it's important to adjust our expectations to be realistic to what is presented to us. Many times, our frustration and hurt is because our expectations are unrealistic for the person. Similar to expecting a drunk high woman not to enter the water. In the same way, it is unrealistic for us to ignore how people are treating us because their words speak what our hearts long to hear. We can choose to control our unrealistic expectations for their actions in order to eliminate frustration untrue words bring. Refuse to give people that kind of power over your life. For our job is to do our best to live a godly life, not to make people love us. What we struggle the most with is allowing someone to have a wrong opinion of us. We so want to defend ourselves, explaining why they are wrong, what a great person we are, and why we are not the villain they see. However, like the drunk high woman going back into the water, completely unaware of what just transpired, that is how they will leave your life when you've practically given your all to them. They will not thank you, and they may even blame you. Sometimes you can do all the right things for all the right reasons, saving somebody's life, and they will blissfully be unaware of it while attacking you as if you're the enemy. It's okay to say you're not willing to do that again. Pack up your family and go home. For if Jesus stayed out of Judea because they hated him, to not sin himself, we have the ability to stay out of strife, enmity, jealousy, fits of anger, rivalry, dissension, division, and envy when people try to murder us with their words. I am grateful you decided to walk a mile with me, your host, Maria Wingard, on the Bridging Broken to Breakthrough podcast. I pray that through our conversation, Jesus reveals how he is bridging broken to breakthrough as we stroll through another mile in this journey called life. Hope will arise if you let him in your life today. To listen to past episodes or find out more, please visit hopewillarise.com.